CHGO White Sox postgame show coming to you live from Studio 8 of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. The Sox have this many wins, 35, finally. Their first series win since June. Yay! That was when he did this. You could play the growl. Yeah, play the growl. Can we make it louder? I see that sound effects is not maxed out. Let's max that out. It's a win. That's Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at HectorWall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. The controller of the Schriffen Growl is Sarah.
Hello.
Did you say it?
Nothing.
I said hello.
Oh, okay. You said it so quietly, I couldn't even hear you over the air. White Sox win 4-3. They get a walk-off victory on Saturday from my man, Andrew Benintendi. My man, 50 grand, looking like Barry Bonds since the second half. When they're done and out, and they've won 3 games after the All-Star break, 4 games?
Yeah.
5 games after the All-Star break. He's looked amazing.
Yeah.
Hasn't led to anything, but hey, they finally get their first series win since June. Series win over the Oakland A's. What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, White Sox should play the A's more. I mean, when they were losing 21 in a row, A's graciously helped them not lose 22 in a row and set the all-time American League record by themselves, which they have tied at 21. And now the White Sox had lost 16 home games in a row. A's, very, very generous, very delightful. They didn't go down easily last night where the White Sox were up 3 and immediately gave those wins right back away. And then your man's, Andrew Benintendi, in the 9th inning at home, when it's time to win the game, who do you want at the plate more?
I could tell you who I don't want on the mound. Whoever threw a 77-mile-per-hour slider meatball right down the middle. Hey, Jack, you're not going to be on the A's no longer.
That's what Andrew Benintendi does, man. You cannot mess with Andrew Benintendi. As Melissa Sage Bolenbach, 15 games /9, 302, 345, 453. Still,
what's the other 200 games? What's the slash line for the other 200 games?
Still not good. He's been hotter than crap, and he's still, I think, an under-WAR player and definitely weighted runs created plus. Not good. I'm sure he's under 100 still with that. Andrew Benintendi, congratulations to him. And Andrew Vaughn's been hitting the last 9 games. Great. I appreciate you guys. And that's the type of stuff that when I asked Vinny a couple of days ago where you get the answer from Davis Martin, I don't give a damn about the answer or about the wins and losses. I'm like, come on now. These type of efforts they've had the last couple of days tell me that they kind of do care about it, and the A's are garbage, and you should take advantage of what the A's are giving you and win games like you did yesterday, 7-6, and today, 4-3.
Andrew Benintendi has now tied his weighted runs created plus of last year. So
87?
88. Oof. Yeah. He's got Luis Robert Jr. on the stat sheet.
This man is crushing.
He's trying to beat his own, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
And then we'll have people in our comments, well, actually, Andrew Benintendi wasn't that bad.
He's going to surpass his personal best of an 88 weighted runs created plus season with the White Sox. He's going to be at 89. That's progress.
Yeah, I guess.
His salary increased by, I think, $10 million, and there you go. You get 1 point of weighted runs created plus.
Yeah,
and 129 losses.
Program we talk about John Schriffen and how his calls are messed up. You highlighted a thing that Steve Stone said earlier in the game, pretty much oh man, if Gavin Sheets gets regular playing time, he hit 25 home runs. Sean, How many games has Gavin Sheets played this year?
He has played 133 after today.
Out of 147.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot. That's a regular-ass starter. And he's hit, 15 home runs?
Yes. I think the defenders of Gavin Sheets, there was 2 faceless accounts that were defending Gavin Sheets, so maybe they are Sheets family members. Yeah, maybe Larry and Mary.
Yeah.
I don't know his mom's name, but we'll go with Mary. But our guy Gav,
he has played, I think, 115 games starting. But the issue that I see, and maybe there is a little bit of a defense, 45 games in right field, 41 games as DH, now 37 at first base. Like, maybe he should get more playing time at first base. He has like 149 weighted runs created plus, not including today, at first base. So I don't hate the idea of him being a first baseman. I definitely hate the idea of him being a right fielder. But you look at his stats as a DH, it's like 87 weighted runs created plus. So it's like, why does the position matter? You should be a major league hitter no matter the position, whether it's first base, DH, or right field. The right field thing I kind of get because he's playing like very out of position.
And your legs can get tired by doing things that you're not used to, yes.
But, I mean, DH. And also, I think I know he hit a homer off a left-handed pitcher today, a guy that was 29 pitches into the first inning and getting worked by the White Sox, to be fair. That's the guy he hit the homer off of and then went 0 for 2 after that. But his weighted runs created plus against left-handed pitchers is like 29. He's very, 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 very bad and has been very, very, very bad against left-handed pitching throughout his career. So I'm not really looking for the turnaround from the 29-year-old. This is the team to take chances on, 29-year-olds who haven't popped. So, hey, I know we'll see Gavin Sheets next year. It's wasted breath to not talk about that. And I know we're being really negative for a series win. So, yay, Gavin, for hitting the homer. Let's go. I'll bust out. Thank you, Sarah. I'll bust out the apology again. We'll bust out the license plate. Giving shit.
But that's the thing. Like, Steve knows better. Like, you can just appreciate what Gavin did today by itself without extrapolating and then lying to your audience that Gavin Sheets is a 25 home run hitter if given the opportunity. What the White Sox and Pedro Grifol and Grady Sizemore have given Gavin Sheets is a chance. And they've done it versus left-handers, they've done it versus right-handers, and he has shown that he's not ready for prime time. I appreciate the home runs, and I appreciate him getting hot as of late. But this is, like you said a couple weeks ago, he is who he is. You've established who he is. And if he goes to some other team and becomes the 25 home run guy that Steve Stone thinks he is, God bless. But I don't see it. I definitely don't see it. And if we're going to do this next year, we got to have one or the other. Either Gavin or Andrew Vaughn, not both.
Who's pushing him out, though? Because
my guy Tim Elko.
Maybe. I mean,
it's.
I think Tim Elko's fine just hanging out in Charlotte.
No, he
close to Ole Miss.
I mean,
close to his people.
It's all good, but
bus bombs in a bandbox.
But once you get those flights instead of bus trips, you're like, I cannot do this anymore.
I mean, I don't want to get all amped up, but on Friday, the game they lost, Chris Getz was in the booth with John Triffin and Steve Stone.
Yes, he
now,
was.
for some reason, I closed out of the thing, so bear with me as I pull up the quote. But Trey Williams, our guy Trey, tweeted out the clip of this. Chris Getz said, "We're not going to be working heavy in free agency. We've got guys on the field right now who need to improve their game, a lot of young players who need to make adjustments to be more productive." I do just read that as, why would we get rid of Gavin Sheets when he has minor league options and control and is fairly cheap? Like, I don't see the rush to get rid of Gavin Sheets when you can just keep him because you have control. Like, they have options, and I think they're going to love the ability of having options. So I don't see them moving on from Vaughn. I don't see them moving on from Sheets. I could see Sheets and Vaughn being the first base combo, Sheets and maybe Ramos being the DH combo. You may be having Vargas and Ramos play third base. We've already heard that Ramos is going to get outfield work. So maybe the bad right fielder, Gavin Sheets, will be replaced by bad outfielder, Bryan Ramos. And we'll ruin another 23-year-old, and we'll put him in right field because he's 23.
Yes.
Just, Bryan Ramos, who hit the hell out of 2 balls today and had a walk, well, let's ruin him because, we like Miguel Vargas.
Yeah.
Ruin Miguel Vargas because he sucks already.
Oh, my God. And that was his thing. Like, when they came over and they said, whoa, why we get Miguel Vargas for the players we traded away? Well, he's 25 and he's versatile. I want to see that versatility next year. Put him wherever there's a spot to be open for, and you put Bryan Ramos at third base and you say, you're there. You're playing all year long, Bryan Ramos. Good, bad, indifferent. There's 150 games with your name on it, Bryan Ramos, and let him do his thing. That's the thing with these young executives. They're too impatient to allow young people to just be bad at the major league level without sending them back down to the minors. Let them be bad. There's nothing down in the minors that's coming up from third base that you're like, okay, yeah, Bryan Ramos could just stand there and we can just have this guy come up here because he's ready to go too. Let this 22-year-old, going to be 23-year-old, just do his thing because, like Sean said, he was stinging the ball today. His fielding looks all right. I want some more of Bryan Ramos. Don't give me any more of the Gavin and Andrew Vaughn stuff. One of them's got to go. Bring another hitter up there like Tim Elko and let him do all his things at the major league level and see if you got anything out of that 26-year-old. If you don't, it's a league you're going to lose anyways. Might as well give it to people you don't know what their limitations are. You know what the limitations of Gavin Sheets are. And it's been 4 years. The Andrew Vaughn thing is not happening. It's not happening.
Did you see in his last 8 games, he is hitting .394
with only 2 home runs? Like, yes. You're a first baseman. When are you going to hit over 25 home runs? That's a bottom line first baseman stat. You should hit 25 home runs if you're playing all the games that Andrew Vaughn is.
Our guy Victor Von Doom saying, give Ramos second base reps. He gives me Josh Harrison vibes. Herb, let's play a game. Who is taller, Bryan Ramos or Andrew Vaughn?
Bryan Ramos.
Bryan Ramos. And who is closer in height to Josh Harrison?
Andrew Vaughn.
Who has more power, Bryan Ramos or Andrew Vaughn?
Bryan Ramos.
Who has more power, Andrew Vaughn or Josh Harrison?
Andrew Vaughn.
Well, maybe. Josh Harrison, maybe. 2018 Josh Harrison, maybe.
Yeah, not White Sox.
But, I mean, I think I'm closer to putting Andrew Vaughn at second base than I am our guy Bryan Ramos. I don't know. Vaughn's 26. I don't hate him. He's fine. If a left-hander is going to be out there throwing 91-mile-per-hour fastballs, then, hey, he'll really work them. And what, he drew a walk? Or no, he had a bloop.
Yeah.
A bloop RBI single. That led to the Gavin homer.
It did.
The Roberto Clemente award winner. He doesn't swing the bat like a Roberto, but he moves the line like Roberto.
No one still has surpassed the home run total that Paul DeJong had for the White Sox. We had 17 home runs for Vaughn. Whatever the Gavin home run total is, like 15 now.
Yeah, Benny's at 17.
Yeah, so we're just like, Paul DeJong still leads the league, leads the White Sox in home runs this year. And that man hasn't been a White Sox in a month and a half.
Hey, at least this feels a little bit better. Paul DeJong more recently has been a White Sox than, before today, the White Sox had won a series.
Hey, as somebody brought up, I don't want to get too political, but Joe Biden was a presidential candidate when the White Sox won their last series.
From and including Saturday, June 29th, 2024, when the White Sox won their second game against the Rockies, to, but not including Sunday, September 15th, 2024, it has been 78 days since the White Sox have won a series. And it's against 2 garbage teams against the Rockies and Athletics. So I guess the best news that we have for you, there's 2 series coming up against the Angels. So let's go. Hey, yeah. Get pumped, Johnny. You're going back to the West Coast. He's going to be close to Vegas.
Yes.
Hometown, baby. Let's go.
And our own Vinnie Duber just sent out a text that Yoan Moncada has returned from his rehab assignment. Yeah. The expectation is that he'll join the team tomorrow in Anaheim.
Hold on. We have not been able to do this. Sarah, mark this down. This is big. This is big. Hold on. Herb, can you read that again? Actually, hold on, wait. Do we have a breaking news sounder? This is big.
It's the biggest thing in the world right now.
Do the growl again.
Hear ye. Vinnie Duber of CHGO White Sox says Yoan Moncada has returned from his rehab assignment. Expectation that he'll join the team tomorrow in Anaheim.
I wasn't expecting to do that bit, but I love it. This emergency segment is brought to you by Indeed. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. That's Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Breaking news, MFers. That's right. Finally.
I mean, the last 12 games,
Yoan Moncada has returned to Anaheim.
I played 11 to start. I'm going to finish off the rest of them with the last 12. And I'm going to be still one of the White Sox top 12 players this year with only 23 games played.
The best part about this, there's 12 games left?
12 games.
He is going to, I think he played 11 before he
did
busted up his hip. He is going to have the best 12 games of his effing life. He is going to look better than 22-year-old Yoan Moncada. That man is going to know that he's in a contract year, know that that option's not going to get picked up, and he is going to look fantastic.
See, this is the thing, though. I don't like that he's coming back with 12 games to go. And I love Yoan Moncada. That's my man, 50 grand. But we're just talking about Bryan Ramos, this whole first segment. That's a man that's going to suffer because Yoan Moncada is coming back. That he'll get fewer playing time opportunities. He'll probably get a good majority of the 12 games left. He'll get 7 out of the 12. But I want 12 out of 12 for him. And Yoan Moncada is persona non grata for me. That man is not going to be on the White Sox next year. And if he wants to play, you don't have to put him in the lineup. He could just be on the 26-man lineup and say, we've already lost 133 games. There's no reason to bring this man in the game.
No, I'm pretty pumped. Let's see Moncada back. And hey, Ramos has played every game since the 9th. He played all 3 games against Cleveland, all 3 games against Oakland. So yeah, hey, let's bring up Yoan Moncada to stop that from happening.
Oh, too much goodness happening. Fuck all that.
Let's take a break. We're going to let you know about our friends over at Empire and Sunnyside. With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, and speed, so competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire will not promise the lowest prices because anyone who does is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. They keep shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is just as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles for your home. And you can check out these styles with their virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. Herb, it's just like a thing I heard about tattoos recently. Pick a style that you like with their virtual floor designer. You know, you can always get a free consultation with a tattoo artist. You know, make sure you're getting the right thing for the right place for your arm. And then, get the $350 off. I don't think there's any coupons for a tattoo artist. So, boom. Instead of getting a tattoo, get floors.
Empire much better than getting floors.
Oh.
Getting tattoos.
Do we have to sing?
Okay. 588-2300 Empire today.
Our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to elevate your summer. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. If you're in the Chicagoland area, you can even go west to Elmwood Park. Beautiful Elmwood Park, where they have a store. You could stop into the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff or select from quality lines like Cresco or Floracal. And here for the summer is Good News is Tea Time Disposable Vape. I believe summer is ending in about 7 days, so I don't think they're going to remove this product, but if you want to feel that summer feeling, as Jonathan Richmond bemoaned about, go check out the classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the golf course with their Good News Tea Time Disposable Vape. You can visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. Code HICHGO at sunnyside.shop. Vinny's tweet mentioned on the Chicago Sports Network.
The new one?
I don't know. They're not
it's
even
not even on yet.
Did you see their studios, guys?
I
Did you see their studios? It's beautiful. It's going to be set up in the United Center atrium, and they're going to have these beautiful screens that display our thumbnails. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fantastic. So congratulations to Jerry Reinsdorf and the Chicago Sports Network. We're excited that Chicagoans will have jobs, right?
Yes.
We're very excited about that part. So, don't take this the wrong way. But, oh man, you guys, how long did it take to make that rendering? Did you put any work into that? Any thought that we, I don't know, are also online and know what our thumbnails look like?
I mean, if I was to give them advice, if they do that in the future again, just crop out the Foligno returns part. I mean, we could say, hey, you're stealing our art, but there's no necessary tag that says that they stole our art until you put the exact same headline that we had in a story with Foligno in here.
As someone that makes thumbnails every day, it was more work to do that than to just do something else.
Just use a picture of Nick Foligno.
Yeah.
Like
it's more, they did more work.
Shop out our logo, but use our font and our like rectangular box that we have on Photoshop. Just pay a graphic designer to design it.
I'm as you said, they're the home of the Blackhawks broadcast.
Yes.
I'm sure they have a couple pictures of Nick Foligno just laying around that they took themselves with their own credits.
So, hey, that's
not a good start.
It's a man that loves a rendering.
Not a good start.
A man that loves a rendering. You got renderings of the new Chicago Sports Network studios. You got the renderings of the 78, and now they're bringing that to life. Old Field of Dreams style. All right, we have Yohan Moncada talk to get to. I think we'll wait to Vinny to really flesh that out because I got some Sean Burke stuff, and I'm going to get real nerdy, and I don't want to, bug Vinny with that. So, Sarah, I think I have 500 graphics to show about Sean Burke. What's most important is before today, Sean Burke did not allow a barrel. He did allow 2 barrels to Brent Rooker. One was a homer.
Crushed.
And then another one was a flyout that was close to being a homer, but not a homer. It did not count down. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 walks allowed by Burke, 2 earned runs on the 2-run homer, and 5 strikeouts for Sean Burke. He has looked very, very nice as a White Sox pitcher. Had some length in a relief role. Now as a starter today, I've been excited by what we've seen. Called strike plus whiff percentage of 28. It's around major league average. Nothing too crazy there, but 15 whiffs on 48 swings. Very nice there. You'd like to see a little bit more consistency with locating four-seam fastballs. Only 3 called strikes on that pitch, so not great there. But overall, 3 pitches, slider at 33 called strike plus whiff percentage, the fastball 27 called strike plus whiff percentage, curveball 26 called strike plus whiff percentage. All of those pitches around major league average. And what I saw in, I believe it was the 4th inning where he had 2 strikeouts, one to Soderstrom with the curveball, and then the next pitcher, I think it was Allen with a four-seam fastball at the top of the zone. I saw 2 pitches that seemed to tunnel off one another. You can go to my Twitter to see the overlay. It's not the best visual, but you can see that it's pretty much the same exact line, and just at the end, that curveball drops off. And it was very nice to see. They even had a slow-mo of the pitch, and it seemed to have like true opposite spin of his four-seam fastball. So I would think as a hitter, if you're trying to pick up spin, it might mirror that four-seam spin, which would probably be very deceptive from what I know about pitching. And the thing that is interesting, too, about Burke that we saw with tall pitchers is you could possibly get what they call a death ball. And, Sarah, if you want to flash... there you go. If you want to flash that one. This is from Lance Brozdowski. He has a great YouTube channel where he makes videos like this and teaches me about baseball. That red dot is where a death ball would plot on a pitch plot. It's similar to a gyro slider, but has more vertical break, right? And is more similar to a curveball's vertical break, less than a slider's like cut or a sweeper or a slurve's cut. So a death ball, Jordan Montgomery popularized that term in the playoffs last year against Jordan Alvarez. It really does just kind of fall off the table and mirrors a four-seam fastball. If you want to flash the release point, I think that one is what you have it labeled as, the release point one, you could see that his pitches all tend to come out of the same spot. You could see that red is that four-seam fastball, the blue is the curveball, the yellow is the slider. It seems like all of those pitches come out of the same spot, so you think that would have some tunneling effect. And then, Sarah, if you want to go to the last one, the movement profile one, I really think that you can possibly label his curveball as a death ball. You could see, if you think back to what I just showed you from Lance, it seems like he has a slider and curveball that have the same horizontal break, but just more vertical depth. And it does seem like he has just like a very tread athletic profile. And it seems like this is maybe a Brian Bannister guy. And what we've seen from him so far is a guy that has great extension, which has been very popular so far in Major League Baseball. We saw Cleveland really dominate us in the last series with pitchers with extension like Joey Fatone, who Lance just recently talked about his Volt can change. Maybe that's a pitch that our guy Burke needs, because you mentioned his struggles against Bleday today, a lefty. Maybe it's a cutter. Shout out to Don Cooper. But he does seem to have 3 major league pitches. It does seem to be a very difficult arm motion to pick up. It's very quick, his arm angle, which is also becoming popularized around Major League Baseball. So it does seem to be a very difficult pitcher type to pick up, and this does seem to be a Major League pitcher. I don't know if it's going to be a starter next year. I don't know if it's going to be a reliever, but I'm pretty sure in 2025, Sean Burke will be a Major League pitcher for the White Sox, and I'm excited.
Yeah, he seems good. I don't know who's going to be ahead of him. I mean, this is only his first Major League start. His relief appearance he had the other day looked sparkling. And as you're talking about, like, I looked at his first inning. He almost had the immaculate inning, and he was going 0-2 to J.J. Bleday and just couldn't get him out. Couldn't find a pitch that could, send him down, because his curveball to a left-hander wasn't working. Stoney said, hey, it's 3-2. A cutter at this point would probably be non-working, because either Bleday's going to spit on it because it's too far inside, or it's going to leave too much on the plate. And I think that's the pitch that Bleday eventually did hit the double for the first in the first inning, and Stoney got on Bleday for not hustling for a triple there. But you could see the stuff is there. He struck out the first 2 hitters, almost had Bleday down there. And, if you're going to struggle versus J.J. Bleday or Rooker, those are the 2 guys that you can't lose to on the A's lineup. He just looks sparkling today. I say that looking at the White Sox future rotation for next year, there's no reason that Sean Burke shouldn't be in consideration, if not already 4 or 5, because who else you got? Davis Martin, I think, is guaranteed to be a starting pitcher next year. I think if he comes back healthy, Drew Thorpe, same thing. Same thing for Jonathan Cannon. So then you have 2 other spots.
Well, Chris Flexen seems, I think he has control, right?
Yeah, he has control, and he's very inexpensive too.
Chris Flexen. They're not going to be heavy in free agency, as Chris Getz said. Thanks for being honest. I can't lie. I mean, thanks for not, giving us the runaround. Shout out Blues Travelers. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're going to be heavy in free agency. So why not bring back cheap Chris Flexen? He can lose 15 games for you. Yeah, poor man's going to come to Chicago and have 30 losses on his record after 2 years. I think Flexen and then Burke. But my thought is too, we see them being crafty with Noah Schultz and having him only start on Saturdays. I know that Hagan is coming off a college season and they just wanted him to get starts, but I think he only started on Saturdays as well to keep with his college schedule. Like, do you go to a 6-man? Would it be smart to have like a 6 to 7-man rotation? I don't know the point where you're going to have too many guys in a rotation, then a bullpen, and especially if, one guy has a blow-up start. But I mean, maybe even have a 7-man rotation where 2 guys are kind of like a hybrid and they could come in, if they're rested. I think that maybe could be a way that it could be interesting. Because, I mean, they have Toussaint, or had Toussaint. They had Schuster. Like, they've had a lot of long guys in the bullpen already. Like, do they go to some sort of just mesh of, we have pitchers and no one has a role. It's just guys that, can give us either innings or they're short guys. And I think that could be possibly the next evolution of White Sox pitching is, maybe it's not a rotation of 5 guys, but we have guys who can go long, like Burke, like Thorpe, like Cannon, like Iriarte, or who's the other guy I'm missing? Martin.
Yeah.
Right? Like, maybe that is what this White Sox rotation looks like. And Iriarte could be a guy, too, that, maybe he is a major leaguer next year.
I mean, I would say that if the White Sox are going to be not going to be free agent, we already knew that. And we're not going to be going out looking for the Flexens and or Fetties of the world for the next year's rotation. I am not opposed to having a 6-man rotation for these young pitchers themselves. We already know that if Noah Schultz comes up here, he'll be on a pitch clock. He will definitely not be going the 6 innings usual you expect out of a starting pitcher, because he's only gone 4 innings this year. It's got a limiting factor. Hits his wallet, gets the 4th inning. And that's by design. So next year has to be the stair step to the 5th and the 6th inning. And so if you got a bunch of young pitchers, and if one like Davis Martin emerges as a guy that is consistently 5+ innings, cool. You maybe run him only on a 5-day, rest period, but all the rest of them, they probably don't know how to pitch in the majors and don't have the innings to do it. Jonathan Cannon being the exception, who's pitched a lot of innings this year. So I would say, yeah, if they're young, impressionable, you're going to be bad next year, might as well limit the time they're on the mound and just get their arms conditioned for the rotation and have the best opportunity for these guys to be out there if you're not going to bring Garrett Crochet back.
We are going to take a break, and we will be joined after the break by Vinnie Duber. We'll talk about Yohan Moncada. We'll talk about how the White Sox could possibly get crafty with a rotation, and we'll see if he asked Sean Burke my really niche question that I texted Vinnie. Probably not. Let's tell you about Circa Sportsbook. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or even in-game wagers, Circa Sports has it all. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. And the best part about Circa Sportsbook is they are the world's largest sportsbook, and they are trying to offer you the best line as a wagerer. And that's why when I'm odds hunting, I go and place a wager on Circa Sports because they have the best odds on Valentina Shevchenko at Sphere. And she wins. Let's go. So shout out Valentina for winning me money. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 plus or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The CHGO Bears crew is heading to London this October. Just a few packages are remaining, and we got direct flights to London and airport transfers. The hotel accommodations are close to all the action that they're going to be having out there. If you want more information, individual tickets are still available. Go to truefan.com, truefantravel.com. But if you're not going to be able to make it to the London trip, you can join the CHGO Bears crew out in Phoenix, Arizona to see the Bears head-to-head with the Arizona Cardinals on November 3rd. Our trip package includes a 3-night stay at a 4-star Phoenix hotel, Q&A with Bears alumni to be announced, all-inclusive travel tailgate party, round-trip transportation to the game, upper-level game tickets, and to see the Bears versus the Cardinals, and reserve your spot at the party at truefantravel.com. Now, there are limited spots available. You know how you can get a discount on this, though?
How?
Become a CHGO diehard member. And if you do, you get 20% off all events, 20% off all future merch. And when you become a CHGO diehard member, you get a selection of a free shirt like the one I have on currently with the great Connor Bedard, or any of the shirts in the CHGO lounge. You get a free one of those, and then 20% off of those in the future. So, yeah, with CHGO, you get podcasts for all the teams every single day. We're right here on a Sunday. It's our 5th show of the week.
That's Fat Time. What's his name? Big Fat Time Slim. Right here, right now. Fat Boy Slim.
Oh yeah. Post-game
right
shows
here, right now,
like we're doing right now, right here, right now. That's more Jesus Jones. Right here, right now. There is no other place I'd rather be. I don't know why I sang it like lit or something like that.
94.3 CHGO, your favorite 90s hits.
Premium written content. I can just tell that Vinny's throwing up that I sing Jesus Jones on this show, and he's on the screen. Premium written content from members like Vinnie Duber at allchgo.com. Like I said, 20% off of events, 20% off of merch for all the teams, free shirt when you become a member, and access to our members-only Discord. We call it the CHGO Lounge.
You mentioned the Arizona thing for the Bears, and I groaned at the fact that Marvin Harrison has 4 receptions for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I thought he was slow.
No. And Kyler Murray is fast and very quick. Imagine he was playing for the A's.
The Desert Dachshund, as I guess my guy Brad Evans calls him.
He looks like it. Let's head out to Guaranteed Rate Field, where we talk to Vinnie Duber after a victorious game for the Chicago White Sox and a victorious series for definitely not season. Victorious series for the first time since June. Hi, Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer.
What's up, guys? Herb not offended at all by that singing. It was probably about as good as the actual song. But Sean, Fat Time Slim? Come on.
My boy, my bad. The brain doesn't work the best. It's putting pieces together.
My favorite music video of all time, Fatboy Slim, Weapon of Choice, with Christopher Walken in the hotel.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Is it Weapon of Choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I don't know. I call them Fat Time Slim, so I'll shut up.
Christopher Walken, dancer in his pass too. That's why he did it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a man of many talents, including great acting.
You know weird facts. So, I mean, look at you guys. All right, Vinnie Duber, let's talk about the breaking news brought to you by Indeed. Yoan Moncada will return. What's the news, if any? Is it just a press release, or did Grady have something specific to say?
No, nobody has commented on this officially yet. It's just something that is expected to happen tomorrow. He's in the clubhouse, just saw him. He's going to be traveling with the team from Chicago to Southern California, and the expectation is that he will be activated for tomorrow's game. They've got a 6-game road trip, then they've got 3 at home, then they got 3 on the road. There's only 12 games left in the season, but I guess all goes well. Yoan Moncada will be active at the very least for all of them.
I mean, we just saw. To comment on that, we've already talked about it. I love Yoan, but it doesn't make sense. This is probably a procedural move that they just can't keep him down in the minor leagues. 12 games or not, we'll see a lot of Yoan Moncada. But the guy that I want to see more of, and I think Sean has a question about him in the future, Sean Burke. His first major league start, acquitted himself very nicely. What did Grady and Sean had to say about his start after he finished it, and got the win too?
Yeah, I mean, when you do something like that in your first major league anything, it's usually all smiles and all bubbly conversation. And then, once you get into start number 2 and beyond, then the competitor can kick in and they can critique a little bit more. But I think right now it's all about having success and getting the celebratory shower. I'm not sure exactly what all the ingredients were this time, but Sean Burke was doused by his teammates with something. Obviously when Grady got the first managerial win, we got the whole lineup of everything that was poured over his head. Not so much with Sean Burke. Maybe it was a little lighter of an affair. I don't know, but certainly celebratory. And look, he looked great, right? I mean, I think up until that walk that extended the 5th inning and resulted in the 2 runs being scored against him, looked like he was just dominating this lineup. I think he gave up maybe a couple of doubles before that in the first 4 innings, but nothing too crazy. And, some strikeouts in there. I believe he was 1 pitch away from an immaculate inning in the first. Yep. It would have been a regular sloppy Thurston out there, but I think that you can definitely throw Sean Burke's name into the hat, right, for who they're going to pick for this rotation to start the beginning of next year. Obviously, he's only going to get a couple more cracks at it before they run out of time this season. But as you can start making a list of 6, 7, 8 guys who could be in the mix come the spring, and I think why not put him right in there with everybody else?
Yeah, I would love to talk to either Ethan or Bryan about the idea of what we talked about before you joined us. It seems like the White Sox have long guys and they have short guys. It doesn't even seem like we have true starters. I mean, Burke was a reliever in his last appearance. Now he's a starter. We've seen some flip-flopping between Tukey and Chad Kuhl. Just with like Noah Schultz's so far limitations, like could you see them maybe breaking the modern mold of a 5-pitcher rotation, or maybe going to something like a 6-man just because, maybe Sean Burke isn't a starter, or maybe Noah Schultz needs more days than a typical 6-man. I don't know. Do you see them either going away from the 5-man rotation because of the, I'll end my question.
I think those are a couple different questions. I think the idea of them, maybe stepping away from the traditional 5-man rotation, sure, why not, right? I mean, I don't think you can rule something like that out when you've got a guy in Brian Bannister who seems to be always looking for kind of the next thing and looking for the way to stay ahead of the hitters and the way to kind of innovate a little bit, right? That's kind of why they brought him in, was to think of things outside of that traditional box like that. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think it's for the reason you're thinking of, right? I think all of these things are case-by-case bases with these guys, and it's just added up to, maybe the appearance of a trend. But Sean Burke was brought up to pitch out of, not necessarily to pitch out of the bullpen. I think he was brought up to ideally replace Nick Nastrini in the rotation, who had already moved to the bullpen, right, and opened up a rotation spot because Nick Nastrini was struggling. You bring Sean Burke up. You want to see him from the jump, so you want to go ahead and put him in a one-day bullpen role with the idea that he's going to pitch in the rotation. Jairo Iriarte is a starter, but as kind of a reward for a good year in the minor leagues, they bring him up and they make him a 1-inning reliever here because that's what they think is best for him right now. Jake Eater could play out the same way if we even see Jake Eater that much over the rest of this. I don't think the idea was these guys are incapable of throwing 5 innings, so they're relievers now. I think it's with where they are in their development, with where they are in their seasons, all respectively, this is kind of how the chips were falling around. So I think when it comes to long men, you have who you saw today. You have Jared Schuster, right? That they have made the decision to make him a long man. Not saying it's irreversible or anything like that, but that's when you say long man. That's what I think about is someone like that. When you say you've got all these guys who are on different levels of being able to pitch into games, that's because we're in the middle of their development, and I think maybe our brains are triggered to think about it. Oh, when you come up, you're ready to start your major league career as whatever you're capable of being right now. I think you see a lot of these young guys who have come up and made very brief appearances this year. They're getting, their feet wet in the major leagues kind of thing. And it doesn't mean that they're done getting all the way to the guy who can throw 7 innings or more in a game. Noah Schultz then is a completely different situation by himself, right? Where, yeah, he hasn't thrown more than 4 innings yet as a pro, but that's where he is in his development. And I don't think that, the idea is to rush him up here right away so he can only be a 4-inning or 5-inning guy. It's just at this very exact moment in time, the snapshot that we're taking, that's where he is in his development. So I think all of these guys have their own individual paths. And in this late season and this very specific situation, we're seeing, different mile markers for every single one of them. And it's adding up to this appearance of something that might be a little different.
I know it's understood that more than likely Garrett Crochet will be shipped off this offseason, and that is met with resistance from fans and other people alike. But if you're going to be doing that with a person that is Garrett Crochet and trading while his value is still high, while you have the White Sox have this nice depth of starting pitcher, and they are mostly 3s and 4s in the major league. There's barely any 1s and 2s. Maybe they can profile as such, but right now, 3s, 4s, and 5s. Would you think the White Sox would actually, deal from a position of strength with Garrett Crochet and some of these other starters to get some more hitting? Because we've been looking at the minor leagues as far as position players. Mercy. It's very, very empty down there. We're just talking about Tim Elko as the guy that could be replacing people here. And that's what I'm saying. And we even argue about Tim Elko. Like, there's not a lot of position players coming up and saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to get that spot next year. So I would say if you're going to do the Garrett Crochet stuff where you're trading for a position of strength, throw a couple more of those starters in there and see if you can get a bat that is major league, because they have a very few people that are actually major league starters as position players.
Yeah, certainly the need is obvious, and I think Chris has even brought that up at one point, saying that the goal would be to focus on hitting. And I think at the trade deadline they did, in a way, right? It was teenagers and guys who are very far off and maybe don't break the bank in terms of prospect rankings or anything like that, but when you're talking about the needs that they're going to go after addressing, I don't think you can doubt that they're going to try to inject some more position player talent into this thing. If they end up trading Garrett Crochet this winter, and like you said, the expectation is that they're going to, I would downright assume that they're going to be getting position players back. Now, when you talk about trying to multiply that by trading pitching, that's when things get a little difficult, because I think the bulk of their pitching success, maybe with the one exception of Davis Martin, is almost entirely unproven, right? And so you would be trading them future for future, which is something you don't often see. I think to hang on to that pitching depth for the time being, and I mean the very immediate future of this offseason, right, would be probably the most logical thing, because it's only a strength so far as it, I was about to say remains a strength. That's like the most obvious thing you can possibly say. But I guess the idea being that the strength that they have is in the depth. And I don't know if it's in the teams are going to be calling up and saying, we want that guy to be in our rotation next year, so we'll give you some position player prospects. You know what I mean? Is anybody calling up and saying, we got to have Kai Bush now, we got to have Drew Thorpe now? Like, those are guys that the White Sox are thinking of for down the road. Now we get to a point where it's 2 years from now, and the White Sox are either on the verge or not quite able to get up over the hump to being where they want to be because they're short a left fielder or they're short a catcher, they're short a first baseman, whatever, they can say, okay, now we got three of these, we got 3, 4, 5 of these guys making up our major league rotation. Maybe that's where we can trade to get a guy. Or, hey, we got these young pitching prospects in the minors who are blocked by all these great guys that we have in the minor leagues. Let's go use those guys to get in. That's more of what you're talking about, I think, the trading from an area of depth to get what you need elsewhere. I think right now it's way too early in their rebuilding project to say that they would start peeling away from future pitching potential when they don't even know who's going to be good out of that group yet. So I think that they're best off kind of hanging on to all those young guys. Obviously, though, they've got the big golden chip in Crochet that they can hope that the hope probably is that they can turn that into a few more top of the system type position player guys so we can start actually filling out a lineup of the future.
We have more viewers than the White Sox have victories. We have 40 people watching and only 19 likes, so make sure you're hitting that like button. And make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We have a ton of Bears coverage tonight as the Bears and Texans will be on Sunday Night Football. We got pregame. We got postgame. Oh, and we have a second postgame, I think, right? We have Briggs and Brown.
Briggs and Brown.
There you go.
And we'll have a halftime report, too.
From the Family Farms patio. So, yeah, check out the CHGO Sports channel tonight for Bears coverage. Vinny, I do want to talk about Chris Getz's recent comment that he had on Friday night, All Access with NBC Sports Chicago. He said, we're not going to be working heavy in free agency. We've got a lot of guys on the field right now who need to improve their game, a lot of young players who need to make adjustments to be more productive. I don't think this is anything too crazy. I also called it honest. Like, thanks for telling us. Like, I'm fine with that. Definitely doesn't get people pumped up for next season. But we did talk recently, I think it was Thursday, about the White Sox spending money because I think their budget next year is only around $60 million. Do you think there needs to be some spending? Like, how much? Like, do you feel like they'll be completely inactive? Do you think they'll be a little active? Do you think they'll be, mediumly active, somewhat active, and then very active? Like, where would you put them on the, I believe, George Bush terrorism scale? What is it? The Secretary of Defense? Is it an orange? Are we at an orange?
All right. You go cool for a second there, Rumsfeld, and I'll try to answer your question. I think what you're getting at here is what are the White Sox going to do this offseason? And to be honest, it sounds like they're going to do what Chris Getz said they're going to do, which is they're not going to do much in free agency. And I think that your assessment is exactly right. Obviously, a lot of folks on the internet weren't happy about it. And listen, people shouldn't be happy when they're faced with the idea that their team is in another rebuild, that their team is not going to do anything to dramatically improve what will most likely end up the worst team in baseball history. But there also is the context of the situation they're in. And in the middle of a rebuild, you shouldn't expect a lot of this. I went back. I'm writing about this topic today. This will go out tonight after the show. So there's a nice tease if folks want to check out allchgo.com. But I went back and looked. After year one of Rick Hahn's rebuilding project, that would have been the 2017-2018 offseason. You know who they signed in free agency? Here's the grand total of major league free agent contracts handed out that offseason. It's Wellington Castillo and Miguel Gonzalez.
No, Ivan.
So I mean,
am I early on Ivan?
That's early. That's early, and I believe that was a trade too. But I think the point being that this is what happens. This is life in a rebuild. And it's no fun for the fans who are watching the major league team every single night, but it shouldn't be surprising. And I think what you said makes a lot of sense. Thanks for the honesty, right? I mean, we rarely get that sort of an off-season forecast from a general manager. It's at least nice to know what to expect going into things, even if nobody's very, very happy about it. But yeah, I don't think this is surprising at all. And I don't think we're even going to see the types of deals that we saw last year, right? That were made with the intent of keeping the payroll down. When we saw the Paul DeYoungs and the Chris Flexens and the Martin Maldonados being signed, I just don't think we're going to see that kind of thing. We could still see trades, but I think, I think it's going to be a lot of playing time for Dominic Fletcher next year. I think it's going to be a lot of playing time for Bryan Ramos and Miguel Vargas next year. I think it's going to be, a lot of the same faces that you're seeing right now in September, probably for the first half of next year. If we're talking about Edgar Caro coming up, that's exciting for the future. If we're talking about Colson Montgomery at some point coming up, that's exciting for the future. But I think the bulk of things, for lack of a better term, it's going to be spinning your wheels here at the major league level while they're waiting for things to go to improve and progress in the minor leagues. And that is no fun for folks to tune into a game every single night. I know that, but this is how it goes in a rebuild, and they're going to stick to the plan here. They're going to stick to the long-term plan unless we hear something shocking from Chris or Jerry at the end of the season. It really seems like why would you completely change course right now when you're already a year plus into the changing that you started last summer?
I don't have a question, just a comment. Herb and I were watching the game, and you brought up JJ Bleday and how the A's really have turned J.J. Bleday into something, and I recalled that he was traded for A.J. Puck, and I said, my poor wife, I could remember that J.J. Bleday was traded for A.J. Puck and the exact details of a minor league trade that does not matter for my team, and then Vinny's remembering that Ivan Nova was traded for Yordi Rosario and $500K of international signing money.
I was at the winter meetings when it happened. Come on.
No, I know, but it's just like, imagine the stuff we can remember if we didn't have to remember this. But no, great recall because you're on the money. I had a question about Ramos.
That's literally where I was going, so go ahead.
Is there any guaranteed playing time, do you think, for Ramos? How do you think Moncada's return will affect Ramos? We brought up that Ramos has played in the past 6 straight games. I'd like to see that continue. Does maybe Miguel Vargas suffer with playing time with Monkey coming back? Monkey?
Yeah, it definitely could be the case. Hell, you might even see Miguel Vargas be on the other end of that roster move tomorrow, right? A guy who maybe, listen, we talk so often leading up to things that we think are coming down the line of like, oh, how's this going to play out? It looks like they got a real problem here. And a lot of times these things just kind of tend to work themselves out. Here's a guy who's struggling so badly in Miguel Vargas that maybe he would benefit from even just a week in the minor leagues, which is the remainder of that season. And Bryan Ramos has been playing a lot of DH lately too. Maybe it just all shakes out where it's not a problem. Moncada goes to third base. Bryan Ramos plays a lot of DH, and that's kind of how it goes for the last couple weeks of the season here. But obviously, we'll find out. Bryan Ramos, to me, has earned some playing time too. It's not just, hey, this is the guy that could be part of the future. See what you got in him. They're giving him a chance, and he's hitting home runs. They're giving him a chance, and he's doing some good things. So I think that it would be hard to argue taking too much playing time away from Ramos right now. Obviously, you got a guy in Gavin Sheets, another DH who's playing well right now as well. But Ramos has done enough to earn some playing time and earn some distinction. You've also got the case with Moncada coming back that maybe Moncada doesn't play Tuesday, right? How many times have we seen where you bring a guy back from a long layoff, in the middle of the season, and the strategy is to kind of slow play it and build in days off? Why wouldn't you do the same here, even though there's only 12 games left? So maybe Moncada doesn't go 12 for 12 in games played here as he just kind of tries to get his feet back under him in the very small time they got back. And Bryan Ramos can get some shot at third base too. We'll see what happens with Vargas, but it looks like there might be one of those situations where everything kind of works itself out.
The thing is, and I agree with you, Vinny, that's probably what's going to happen where Yoan Moncada gets a lion's share of the playing time at third base. And I hope to God that they don't do that because there's nothing there. If Yoan Moncada needs to come back because of some type of rule, cool, smooth. You don't have to play him. He doesn't need to play. These games mean nothing, as they've already said. So give me all the Miguel Vargas / Bryan Ramos at third base. And Yoan, hey man, you're a good pinch hitter off the bench. Otherwise, I don't know why you play him at all in the last 12 games. Just otherwise than to do Yoan Moncada, the player, a favor of, hey, I'm healthy, see how I can hit. You owe nothing as a White Sox organization to Yoan Moncada to give him any at-bats in these last 12 games. So I just want them to go into that knowing that Yoan's not the future. the future is more important, even in 12 games, than seeing Yoan Moncada bat for however many times in these last 12.
I'm excited for Moncada. Hey, I claim that he's going to have probably the best 12 games of his White Sox career. So I'm excited.
Maybe the best 12 games in this White Sox year.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, he's going to have to surpass Luis Robert Jr. Those are the two questions I have to ask you guys. Which White Sox will pass Paul DeJong, if any, in home runs? Paul DeJong has 18. The Andrews are at 17. Will there be a White Sox to pass 18 home runs? Yes or no?
Yes.
Who?
Benintendi.
Yes, I think both of them will, but I think Benintendi ends up more than Vaughn.
Okay. The next question will be something I forgot. All right, cool.
That's fine.
No, that was not it. Oh, here it is. Robert is at 1 WAR. Moncada is at 0.4 WAR.
No.
Can Moncada surpass Robert in these next 12 games? That 0.4 WAR for Moncada was put up in, 39 at-bats. So 11 games for Moncada. He'll have 12 maybe for the rest of the year. He maybe only has 11 if they have him sit for 1. Will Moncada pass Robert?
No, because Robert already has the lead, and he's starting to play well. So the one will continue to progress. And even if Yoan plays as well as he did with the 11 games, double it up, 0.8.
I'd say no just because of time, probably more than anything. But can you tell me how many WAR Dominic Fletcher has?
Ooh, I could look. Moncada didn't hit a homer with the Sox, so maybe if we get 2 to 3 homers, that might be the pop for Moncada.
My thing is that WAR is often, particularly FWAR, is so defense heavy, and so or maybe it's the other one. Maybe it's the BWAR. I'm not a WAR guy.
FWAR is more favorable. FWAR is more favorable to defense.
Okay,
Dom Fletcher has 0 WAR according to Baseball Reference, and Fangraphs has him at -0.6. So it's not Dom
good.
Fletcher.
So I guess, no, I wasn't going to say that. I'm saying that because Dom Fletcher's WAR total is probably almost entirely positive in a positive way based on his defensive ability, because he's been very good defensively this year. I'm curious. I was trying to set a baseline as to how much a good defender like Moncada could do without necessarily hitting too much. The answer is not much, apparently. So I'll go ahead and say that Robert ekes it out here by the end of the year.
So for FWAR has Robert at 0.5, Moncada at 0.3. So that seems a little bit more doable, friends.
Now we're talking. Now we're
talking 3 homers and some nice defense, and we got Moncada as a 0.75 WAR player. All right, let's end this show. The White Sox finally win a series since John Triffin growled. That's going to do it. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You could read his work at allchgo.com. He teased an article that's coming up, so go follow him at Vinnie Duber. He will tweet it out when it is published. That is Herb Lawrence, our CHGO White Sox community leader. You can follow him at EcknerWall23. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We got a ton of Bears coverage coming later. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.